You are a slave. You are a slave to your own reactions, a prisoner of your own impulses, and a servant to a mind that won't shut up. You think you are free, but the moment something goes wrong, you crumble. The moment you feel tired, you quit. This ends now. In the next hour, we will dismantle the weak version of you. We will replace your fragile feelings with concrete action. We will build a fortress that cannot be shaken by the world. This is not a suggestion. This is the manual for your liberation. Welcome to the discipline. Chapter 1. The Lie of Your Feelings. You are living in a hallucination. From the moment you wake up until the moment you close your eyes, you are being fed a constant stream of data. This data tells you that you are tired. It tells you that you are anxious. It tells you that you are offended, excited, depressed, or angry. You take this data, you hold it tight, and you call it the truth. This is your first mistake. This is the mistake that keeps you small. You believe that because you feel something, it must be real. You believe that because you feel fear, there is danger. You believe that because you feel lethargy, you need rest. You believe that because you feel anger, you have been wronged. You are wrong. Let me be clear. Your feelings are not facts. Your feelings are biological suggestions. They are chemical spills in your brain designed by evolution to keep you safe in a primitive world that no longer exists. But you do not live in a cave. You are trying to build a life of discipline and power. And to do that, you must learn the most important lesson of the Stoic mind. You are not your feelings. You are the observer of your feelings. Think about the weather. When a storm comes, a sky turns gray, rain falls, thunder shakes the ground. But is the sky destroyed? No. The sky remains behind the clouds. The sky is the container, the storm is the content. The storm passes, but the sky remains. Most of you are trying to be the storm. You identify with the rain. You say, I am sad, instead of saying, I am experiencing a sensation of sadness. That distinction is everything. That is the key. If you say, I am sad, you are claiming the emotion as your identity. You are making it permanent. You are building a cage out of a temporary mood. But if you say, I am noticing sadness, you create distance. You create a gap. And in that gap, you find your freedom. The two selves, the child and the ruler. To master this, you must understand that there are two people living inside of you. First, there is the feeler. The feeler is a child. The feeler wants comfort. The feeler wants candy. The feeler screams when it doesn't get its way and hides when things get hard. The feeler lives entirely in the present moment, governed by impulse. When you hit the snooze button, that is the feeler. When you snap at your spouse because you had a bad day at work, that is the feeler taking the wheel. When you quit the gym because you just aren't feeling it today, that is the feeler taking the wheel. Then there is the ruler. The ruler is the Stoic. The ruler is the adult in the room. The ruler looks at the data, looks at the long-term goal, and makes the decision based on logic, duty, and principle. Most of you have let the child run the household. You have let the feeler make the decisions. And look at where that has gotten you. Inconsistent results. Regret. A life that starts and stops over and over again. You have a choice. Every single day, you have a choice. Who is in charge? When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., the feeler screams, "It's too cold, I'm tired, 5 more minutes." The feeler is flooding your body with the sensation of fatigue. The feeler is begging for the dopamine hit of comfort. If you believe the lie, if you believe that feeling is truth, you go back to sleep. You lose. But the ruler observes the fatigue. The ruler says, I notice the body is tired. I notice the mind wants comfort. That is interesting. But the mission requires us to get up. And then the ruler moves the body. It is not about not feeling the pain. It is about feeling the pain and doing it anyway. It is not about weakness. It is about discipline. Reprogramming the narrative. You must start viewing your emotions as external objects. Imagine you are sitting on a balcony, looking down at a crowded street. The people on the street are your emotions. One of them is anger. He is shouting, red-faced, throwing rocks. One of them is fear. She is trembling, hiding in a doorway. You are up on the balcony. You are watching them. You can hear them. You can see them. But you are not down there with them. You do not have to do what they say. You are not your feelings. You are the observer of your feelings. Say that to yourself when the anger rises. I am observing anger. Do not judge it. Do not fight it. Just watch it. When you fight an emotion, you give it energy. When you watch an emotion, you starve it.
This is the practice of detachment. It makes you dangerous. It makes you powerful. Because a person who cannot be manipulated by their own chemistry cannot be manipulated by anyone else. When you stop reacting to your internal weather, you become unshakable. Someone insults you? That is their problem. Your feeler might flare up, but your ruler stays on the balcony. You see the insult, you analyze it, and you discard it. No reaction, no energy lost. The command, the 24-hour rule. So how do we apply this? How do we take this philosophy and turn it into a tactical weapon for your life? We use the 24-hour rule. This is the unified system for controlling what you feel and, more importantly, what you do. You must never make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. Never. We all know the danger of acting on a low. When you are depressed, exhausted, or defeated, your brain lies to you. It tells you to quit. It tells you the project is impossible. It tells you the relationship is over. If you act then, you destroy your progress. But the high is just as dangerous. When you are manic, excited, or pumped up on motivation, your brain also lies to you. It tells you that you can take on 10 new projects. It commits you to things you cannot sustain. You make promises you cannot keep. Both the high and the low are intoxications. You are drunk on chemicals. You would not drive a car while drunk, so why do you drive your life while emotional? Here is the rule. If you want to quit something, you must wait 24 hours. If you want to start a massive new commitment, you must wait 24 hours. If you want to send that angry email, you must wait 24 hours. You must wait for the baseline. The baseline is the sober state. The baseline is when the chemicals have faded, the storm has passed, and the sky is clear again. Only the ruler lives in the baseline. The feeler cannot survive there. If after 24 hours of calm reflection you still want to quit, then perhaps it is the right logical choice. If after 24 hours the email still needs to be sent, then send it with a clear head. But you will find 99% of the time the urge is gone, because the urge was a lie. The emotion was a deception. You are not your feelings. You are the observer of your feelings. Stop proving how emotional you are. Stop proving how passionate you are. Passion without discipline is just chaos. We are not here for chaos. We are here for order. We are here for the fortress. Start today. When the frustration hits you, stop. Breathe. Step out onto the balcony. Look down at the frustration and say, I see you, but you are not me. Then turn to the work. Turn to the task. Let the feelings scream. You have a job to do. You have begun to master the internal world. You have separated the signal from the noise. But mastering yourself is only half the battle. The world is watching you, and many of you are enslaved by what they think. You have silenced your own emotions, but you are still addicted to the applause of the crowd. It is time to kill the need for validation.
Chapter 2. Starve the Observer. You are an actor, and you are exhausted. You are exhausted because you have spent your entire life on a stage. Every time you walk into a room, you are performing. Every time you speak, you are reciting lines designed to make people like you. Every time you post on social media, you are curating a scene, adjusting the lighting, and begging for applause. You are obsessed with the audience. You are obsessed with the observer. You constantly ask yourself, what do they think of me? Do I look successful? Do I look smart? Do I look happy? You crave the nod of approval. You crave the like. You crave the validation that proves you exist. This addiction is destroying you. It is turning you into a hollow shell. You are so busy projecting an image of a life that you have forgotten to actually live one. It is time to bring up the house lights. It is time to see the truth about your audience. The empty theater. Here is the brutal reality. The theater is empty. No one is watching you. This is the concept of the empty theater. You believe you are the main character in a movie that everyone else is watching. You trip on the sidewalk and think everyone saw it. You make a mistake at work and think everyone is judging you. You wear a new shirt and think everyone is analyzing your style. They aren't. Everyone else is too busy worrying about their own movie. They are too busy worrying about their lines, their appearance, and their insecurities. They are not looking at you. They are looking at themselves. You are performing for an empty room. You are dancing for ghosts. Once you understand this, you have a choice. You can keep dancing for no one, wasting your energy, begging for attention that will never fill the void. Or you can walk off the stage. You can step into the reality of your own life. You must realize that seeking approval is a form of slavery. When you need someone else to tell you that you did a good job, you are their slave. When you need the world to validate your success, you are the world's slave. Validation is for the weak. Silence is for the strong. Let that sink in. The weak man needs to be seen. The weak man needs you to know he is working hard. He posts a picture of his laptop at 10 p.m. He tells you about his diet. He tells you about his big plans. Why? Because he doesn't believe in himself. He needs you to believe in him so he can borrow your confidence. He is a beggar holding out a bowl, asking for scraps of attention. Stop begging. The power of silence. The strongest person in the room is usually the quietest. Have you ever noticed that? The person who knows they are dangerous doesn't need to yell. The person who is truly wealthy doesn't need to flash cash. The person who is actually disciplined doesn't need to post about it. They have nothing to prove. They know who they are. This brings us to the discipline of silence. Most of you talk too much. You explain yourself. You defend your actions. You announce your intentions. You think that by speaking you are asserting dominance, but you are doing the opposite. You are leaking power. Every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't matter, you are saying, "Please understand me. Please accept me." You are handing them your power. Stop it. When you are criticized, do not defend. When you are successful, do not brag. When you are working, do not announce it. Validation is for the weak. Silence is for the strong. This is not about being antisocial. It is not about being rude. It is about being self-contained. It is about building a generator inside your own soul so that you don't need to plug into other people to feel good. That's the key. You must become your own battery.
If you run a marathon and tell no one, did you still run it? The weak mind says no, because there was no applause. The Stoic mind says yes, because the miles are in your legs. The strength is in your body. The result is yours and yours alone. When you keep your wins to yourself, they grow in power. When you share them immediately, you release the pressure valve. You dissipate the energy. You get the cheap dopamine hit of a congratulations instead of the deep, slow-burning satisfaction of self-mastery. The audit. Kill the performance. So how do we fix this? How do we stop performing and start living? We perform the audit. You need to look at your daily actions and ask a painful question. Who is this for? Are you buying that car because you love engineering or because you want the neighbors to see it? Are you going to that party because you want to connect with friends or because you want to be seen at the right place? Are you working late because the job requires it or because you want the boss to see your light on? If you are doing it for the observer, stop. Here is your instruction. This is what you must do. For the next 7 days, you are going to go into ghost mode. You will execute your tasks, but you will tell no one. If you go to the gym, you are forbidden from taking your phone out. No pictures, no check-ins. You go, you lift, you leave. If you have a great idea for a business, you will not tell your friends over drinks. You will write it down and work on the first step in silence. If you are angry with someone, you will not vent to a third party to get them on your side. You will deal with it directly or let it go. It's not about visibility. It's about reality. You will feel an urge to share. You will feel an itch to pull out your phone. You will feel a burning desire to say, "Look at me." You must kill that urge. You must starve the observer. When you deny the craving for attention, you build a callus over your ego. You teach your brain that your opinion is the only one that matters. You teach yourself that you are enough. Validation is for the weak. Silence is for the strong. Think of the most impressive people in history. Did they spend their time trying to convince people they were great? No, they were too busy being great. They let their work speak. And because their work was undeniable, the world eventually listened. But even if the world hadn't listened, it wouldn't have mattered, because they weren't doing it for the applause. They were doing it for the standard. The secret freedom. When you stop caring about the empty theater, You become dangerous. You become free. You can take risks because you aren't afraid of looking stupid. You can change your mind because you aren't worried about being inconsistent. You can fail because you know failure is just data, not a public humiliation. You don't need their permission to live your life. You don't need their permission to change. You don't need their permission to be great. Cut the strings. Break the mirror. Do the work in the dark. Let them think you are lazy while you are outworking them. Let them think you are stupid while you are outlearning them. Let them think you are lost while you are forging a new path. Let them think whatever they want. It does not matter. Validation is for the weak. Silence is for the strong. You have reclaimed your identity. You have pulled your self-worth out of the hands of strangers and placed it back inside your own chest where it belongs. You are no longer performing. You are finally living. But now that you are standing on your own 2 feet, now that the noise of the crowd has faded, you are left with something else, something immediate. The world will still throw chaos at you. People will still attack you. Problems will still arise. You have stopped performing, but have you learned how to stop reacting? Between the moment the world hits you and the moment you hit back, there is a space, a tiny gap. Most men miss it, but the master lives there. You have starved the observer. Now you must master the gap.
Chapter 3. The pause is power. You are a machine. Right now, you are operating on factory settings. Input equals output. Stimulus equals reaction. Someone insults you, you get angry. A car cuts you off, you scream. Your phone buzzes, you pick it up. You think you are making decisions, but you are not. You are running a script. You are an automaton enslaved by your own biology. This is the state of the weak man. The weak man has no filter between what happens to him and what he does next. He is a leaf blowing in the wind. If the wind blows east, he goes east. If the wind blows west, he goes west. He has no say in the matter. But you are here to stop being a leaf. You are here to become the rock. To do that, you must discover the most powerful weapon in the human arsenal. It is not intelligence. It is not strength. It is a tiny, invisible slice of time. It is the gap. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the living hell of a concentration camp, realized a fundamental truth. He said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space is the pause. Most of you have zero space. The stimulus hits you and you explode immediately. You have no gap. And because you have no gap, you have no freedom. Delay is dominion. Do not react. Respond. That is the mantra. That is the code. Reaction versus response. You must understand the difference between a reaction and a response. They sound similar, but they are worlds apart. A reaction is fast. It is emotional. It is defensive. It comes from the lizard brain, the amygdala. It is a survival mechanism designed for a world where tigers were trying to eat you. But there are no tigers in your office. There are no tigers in your emails. When you react, you are giving away your power. You are letting the external world control your internal state. If a stranger can make you angry with a single sentence, that stranger owns you. That stranger is your master.
A response is slow. It is deliberate. It is logical. It comes from the prefrontal cortex, the human brain. A response considers the goal. A response asks, does this action serve me? That's the key. Does it serve you? Let's look at the difference. Scenario, your boss criticizes your work in front of the team. The reaction? You feel the heat rise in your neck, your heart rate spikes, you immediately snap back, making an excuse, or you shut down and sulk. You look weak, you look defensive. You have lost respect. The response. You feel the heat rise, you notice it. You hit the pause, you say nothing for 3 seconds, you look at him, you analyze the criticism. Is it true? If yes, you accept it. If no, you discard it. You speak calmly. I understand your perspective. Here is the data. You look strong. You look in control. You have gained respect. The difference was not in the event. The difference was in the 3 seconds of silence. Delay is dominion. Do not react. Respond. You have a choice. In every single interaction, you have a choice, but you can only access that choice if you stop the machine. The physiology of the pause. You might think, I can't help it. I just get so mad. That is a lie. You are choosing to be mad because you are too lazy to engage the brakes. When a trigger happens, an insult, a failure, a shock, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline. This is the hijack. Your IQ drops, your vision narrows, your body is preparing to fight. If you speak during the hijack, you will say something stupid. If you type an email during the hijack, you will ruin your career. If you make a decision during the hijack, you will regret it. You must wait for the chemicals to clear. It's not about speed, it's about discipline. The disciplined mind knows that the first thought is usually the wrong thought. The first impulse is usually the destructive impulse. So how do we create the gap? How do we force the body to stand down? We use the breath anchor. This is not meditation. This is not relaxation. This is a tactical override of your nervous system. When the chaos hits, you do not speak. You do not move. You anchor yourself with the breath. The tactical instruction. Here is what you must do. The next time you feel the spike, the anger, the fear, the urge to justify yourself, you are going to execute a 4-count hold. Shut your mouth. Physically seal your lips. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, deep into the belly. Hold that breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly. In those 8 to 12 seconds, you are sending a signal to your brain, we are not under attack, we are safe. Engage logic. You are manually switching gears from the animal brain to the human brain. This will feel unnatural at first. You will want to explode. Your ego will scream, say something, fight back, defend yourself. Let the ego scream. You are the ruler. The ruler does not bark at dogs. Delay is dominion. Do not react, respond. Training the muscle. You cannot wait for a crisis to practice this. If you wait until your life falls apart to try the pause, you will fail. You must train on the small things.
When the internet is slow, do not sigh. Pause. Breathe. When you drop your keys, do not curse. Pause. Breathe. Pick them up. When someone interrupts you, do not roll your eyes. Pause. Breathe. Listen. Treat the pause like a muscle. Every time you deny the impulse to react, the muscle gets stronger. Every time you indulge the reaction, the muscle gets weaker. You don't need their permission to be silent. In a negotiation, the person who pauses the longest wins. In an argument, The person who pauses the longest controls the frame. Silence makes people uncomfortable. They will rush to fill the silence with information. They will reveal their hand. While they are babbling, you are thinking. While they are reacting, you are strategizing. You become a predator in a world of prey. The prey is always twitchy, always moving, always reacting. The predator is still. The predator waits. The predator strikes only when it is time. The price of impatience. Look back at your life. Look at the wreckage. How many relationships have you damaged because you couldn't keep your mouth shut for 10 seconds? How many opportunities did you lose because you acted out of impatience? How much time have you wasted apologizing for things you said when you were angry? That is the tax you pay for being a slave to reaction. It is a high tax. It costs you your reputation. It costs you your peace. Stop paying it. Delay is dominion. Do not react, respond. From this moment on, you are a person of the gap. You do not jump when the world says jump. You evaluate, you process, you decide. When you master the pause, you become impossible to offend. Because an offense is only real if you accept it. If you pause, look at it, and step over it, it does not exist. You become the eye of the storm. The winds of chaos can spin around you at 100 miles an hour, but in the center, in your mind, it is dead calm. That is power. That is the Stoic ideal. But be warned. Once you learn to pause, once you learn to stop reacting to the surface noise, you will start to notice something else. You will start to feel the deeper currents of life. You will start to feel the friction. You will start to feel the pain of growth. Most people run from pain. They react to pain by quitting. They treat pain as an injury. But you are not most people. You are going to learn a new definition of suffering. You are going to learn that the burning sensation isn't a warning to stop. It is a signal to push harder. You have mastered the pause. Now you must master the suffering.
Chapter 4. Pain is information, not injury. You have been lied to. Society has taught you that pain is wrong. You are told that if something feels uncomfortable, you should stop. You are told that if you are stressed, you need a break. You are told that life is supposed to be easy, soft, and gentle. This is the lie that keeps you weak. This is the lie that keeps you average. You treat pain like a disease. You treat discomfort like a warning sign that says, turn back. But you are misreading the signal. You are misinterpreting the data. Pain is not a stop sign. Pain is a growth marker. When you lift a heavy weight, your muscles burn. Is that an injury? No, that is information. That is your body telling you that you have reached the limit of your current capacity. If you stop the moment you feel the burn, you never grow. You stay exactly the same. The same is true for your mind. The same is true for your spirit. When you are sitting at your desk, struggling to focus, and your brain feels like it is on fire, that is not a signal to check social media. That is the feeling of your mental capacity expanding. When you are in a difficult conversation and your stomach turns in knots, that is not a signal to run away. That is the feeling of your emotional resilience hardening. You must reframe your relationship with suffering immediately. Comfort is the enemy. Friction creates the fortress. If you are comfortable, you are atrophying. It is a biological law.
If you do not use a muscle, it withers. If you do not stress a bone, it becomes brittle. If you do not challenge your mind, it becomes soft. Most of you have soft minds. You have lived in climate-controlled rooms, eating soft food, sleeping in soft beds, consuming soft entertainment. You have removed all the friction from your life. And because you have removed the friction, you have removed your strength. You crumble at the slightest inconvenience. A traffic jam ruins your day. A rude comment ruins your week. You are fragile because you have protected yourself from the very thing that makes you strong. The callus of the mind. Think about your hands. If you never work with your hands, the skin is soft. It is pink. It is sensitive. If you grab a rough rope and pull, your hands will blister. They will bleed. You will be in pain. But if you keep pulling the rope day after day, what happens? The skin does not stay wounded. The skin heals. But it heals differently. It grows back thicker. It grows back harder. It forms a callus. The callus is a shield. It allows you to handle the rough rope without bleeding. It allows you to handle the friction without pain. You need to build a callus on your mind. But you cannot build a callus without friction. You cannot build a callus without the initial pain. Comfort is the enemy. Friction creates the fortress. You are avoiding the friction. You are looking for the shortcuts. You are looking for the easy way to get rich, the easy way to get fit, the easy way to be happy. There is no easy way. There is only the hard way. And the hard way is the only way that works. It's not about suffering. It's about armor. We are not talking about masochism. We are not talking about hurting yourself for no reason. We are talking about systematic desensitization to hardship. If you cannot handle the cold, you are a slave to the temperature. If you cannot handle hunger, you are a slave to the refrigerator. If you cannot handle silence, you are a slave to your phone. You have a choice. You can wait for the world to break you, or you can break yourself down and rebuild stronger. Voluntary hardship. The Stoics practiced something called voluntary hardship. They did not wait for tragedy to strike. They practiced tragedy in advance. They inoculated themselves against bad luck. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, would spend days living like a beggar. He would wear rags. He would eat stale bread. He would sleep on the floor. Why? Was he crazy? No. He was training.
He was teaching his feeler, the soft, complaining child inside him, that he could survive without luxury. He was proving to himself that he did not need comfort to be content. He was looking at his worst fears and realizing, is this the condition I feared so much? This is nothing. You must do the same. You don't need their permission to be weird. You don't need their permission to be intense. You need to start introducing calculated misery into your life. That's the key. Calculated misery. Here's what you must do. 1. The cold shower. Start every morning with freezing water, no hot water. The moment the cold hits you, your mind will scream. It will beg for warmth. You will stand there and take it. You will control your breath. You will teach your brain that you do not negotiate with physical sensations. You are the master. The water is just water. 2. The fast. Once a week, go 24 hours without food. Learn what true hunger feels like. Realize that you will not die if you miss lunch. Watch your mood swings. Watch your irritability. Observe it. control it. Realize that you are not a slave to your appetite. 3. The silence. Turn off the music. Turn off the podcasts. Drive to work in silence. Sit in your room in silence. Face the noise in your own head. Most of you use noise to drown out your own thoughts. Stop running. Face the demon in the quiet. Comfort is the enemy. Friction creates the fortress. When you do these things, you are building the mental callus. So when real tragedy strikes, and it will strike, you will be ready. When you lose your job, when you lose a loved one, when the market crashes, you will not panic. You will not collapse. You will say, I know pain. I know discomfort. I have lived here before. I can handle this. You are building an immunity to the chaos of the world. Pain is information. From now on, when you feel pain, you must change the label.
Stop calling it bad. Call it heavy. Call it intense. Call it necessary. When you are working on a project and you feel the urge to quit because it is too hard, stop. Recognize that feeling. That feeling is the sensation of the bar being raised. That is the sensation of you leveling up. If you quit now, you slide back down the mountain. You wasted the pain. Do not waste the pain. Harvest it. Use the pain as fuel. Use the frustration as focus. You have a choice. You can be the person who quits when it starts to rain. Or you can be the person who learns to work in the storm. The person who quits stays soft. The world eats soft people. The world chews them up and spits them out. The person who stays becomes hard. They become dangerous. They become the fortress. Comfort is the enemy. Friction creates the fortress. Stop looking for the soft landing. Stop looking for the pat on the back. Look for the challenge. Look for the thing that scares you. Look for the thing that makes you want to vomit and then walk straight toward it. If it hurts, you are doing it right. If it is easy, you are doing it wrong. Accept the burn. Love the burn. The burn is the only evidence that you are alive and that you are changing. But be careful. There is a trap here. You can handle the physical pain. You can handle the cold water. You can handle the hunger. But the mind is tricky. The mind doesn't just feel pain, it creates a story about the pain. It invents a tragedy. It turns a simple failure into a catastrophe. You have hardened your body against the world. Now you must harden your mind against its own lies. You must learn to silence the storyteller who lives in your head, constantly whispering that you are a victim. It is time to execute the narrator. Chapter 5. Kill the narrative. You are addicted to drama. You might deny it. You might say you hate drama, that you just want peace. But look at the inside of your mind. Look at the way you talk to yourself when things go wrong. You are the director of a movie that is ruining your life. Something happens, a neutral event. The market goes down. Your partner leaves. You get rejected. That is the raw footage. That is the event. But you don't just watch the raw footage. You add a soundtrack. You add special effects. You write a script about how unfair it is. You write a monologue about how you are cursed or unlovable or always unlucky. You take a single moment of pain and you stretch it into a lifetime of suffering. This is the narrative, and it is a lie. The event itself is rarely the problem. The problem is the story you tell yourself about the event. The event breaks your leg, the story breaks your spirit. You must understand a fundamental law of the universe. Events are objective. Opinions are subjective. Rain is not bad. Rain is water falling from the sky. It is only bad because you wanted to go to the beach. The rain has no intention. The rain does not hate you. The rain does not know you exist. Your boss firing you is not a catastrophe. It is a termination of a contract. It is a shifting of resources. It is only a catastrophe because you are telling yourself a story about how you will never find another job. Strip the story. See the bare fact. That is your command. The adjective addiction. You are addicted to adjectives. You love to decorate the truth with emotional words. This is a terrible disaster. He is a cruel idiot. I am a hopeless failure.
Every time you use an adjective, you are injecting poison into your own veins. You are emotionalizing data. You are clouding your judgment. When you say, I am a failure, you are making a claim about your identity. You are solidifying a temporary result into a permanent trait. You are cementing your feet in concrete. You have a choice. You can keep poisoning yourself with adjectives, or you can start speaking the language of reality. We call this objective seeing. Objective seeing is the art of removing the commentary. It is looking at the world like a scientist, not a victim. Instead of saying, my life is over because I lost this money, you say, my bank account balance has decreased by 20%. Expenses must be cut, revenue must increase. Do you see the difference? The first sentence creates panic. The second sentence creates a plan. The first sentence paralyzes you. The second sentence mobilizes you. It's not about feelings, it's about facts. You must become a master of the boring truth. Drama is exciting, but drama is for children. Boredom is where the work gets done. Strip the story. See the bare fact. The victim trap. Why does your brain do this? Why does it invent these tragic stories? Because it wants to make you a victim. There is a dark, twisted comfort in being a victim. When you are a victim, nothing is your fault. If the world is unfair, then you don't have to try. If the system is rigged, then you can just give up and watch TV. The narrative of unfairness is a defense mechanism. It protects your ego. It says, I didn't fail. The world failed me. This is the victim trap, and it is a cage.
When you blame the world, you give the world your power. If you say, I am unhappy because of my wife, you are admitting that your wife owns your happiness. You are her slave. If you say, I am broke because of the economy, you are admitting that the economy owns your wallet. You are its slave. Or if you say, I'm angry because of the traffic, you are admitting that a line of cars owns your peace of mind. You don't need their permission to be happy. You don't need the world to be perfect for you to be strong. But as long as you hold on to the narrative, as long as you keep telling the story of how you were wronged, you will remain weak. That's the key. The story is the chain. You think you are venting. You think you are processing. You are not. You are reinforcing the walls of your own prison. The police report technique. So how do we kill the narrative? How do we stop the storyteller? We use the police report technique. Imagine a police officer arrives at the scene of an accident. Does he write, "The tragic, heartbreaking car looked so sad as it wept oil onto the cruel pavement"? No. He writes, "Vehicle A struck Vehicle B. Damage to the front bumper. No injuries reported. Time, 2 p.m. Facts, nouns, verbs, no adjectives, no emotions." From this day forward, when something goes wrong in your life, you are going to file a police report. Scenario: you get rejected by a potential client. The old you, the narrative: "They hated me. I'm terrible at sales. I'll never build this business. Everyone thinks I'm a fraud. This is humiliating." The Stoic you, the police report: "The client declined the proposal. They cited budget constraints. The conversion rate is currently 1 in 10. I need to make 9 more calls to secure a deal." Strip the story. See the bare fact. The old you goes to the bar to drink away the shame. The Stoic you picks up the phone and makes the next call. Which one wins? You know the answer.
This requires constant vigilance. Your brain is a story-generating machine. It will try to slip adjectives back in. It will try to whisper, "But it really is unfair this time." Catch it. Stop it. Correct it. I am not devastated. I am experiencing a release of cortisol. This is not a nightmare. This is a logistical problem. It's not about drama. It's about clarity. When you strip away the story, you realize that most of your problems aren't problems at all. They are just situations. And situations have solutions. Stories do not have solutions. Stories only have endings. Do not write the ending yet. You are still in the middle of the book. The separation. You must separate the event from the interpretation. Epictetus said, "Men are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." You can handle the thing. You can handle the divorce. You can handle the bankruptcy. You can handle the illness. Human beings are incredibly resilient. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and wars. You can survive a bad Tuesday. What you cannot handle is the weight of the story you are carrying around. Drop the weight. Drop the story. Look at the problem with cold, dead eyes. See it for exactly what it is. It is just matter. It is just energy. It is just a set of circumstances waiting for you to move the pieces. Strip the story. See the bare fact. Once you see the bare fact, the emotion evaporates. The panic subsides, and you are left with something very clear. You are left with a simple question. What is the next move? The narrative keeps you stuck in the past. Why did this happen? The fact points you toward the future. What do I do now? You have killed the storyteller. You have silenced the victim. You have looked at the wreckage of your plans, and you have seen only raw materials. Now you have clarity. You know what is real. But knowing is not enough. You can stare at the facts all day and still starve to death. Analysis without execution is just a different form of procrastination. You have cleared the emotional fog. The path is visible. Now you must walk it, and you must walk it even if you don't feel like it. You must stop waiting for motivation. You must become a machine. Chapter 6. Action without emotion. You are waiting for a feeling that is never going to come. You are sitting there, staring at the screen, staring at your running shoes, staring at the phone, waiting for motivation. You are waiting for the clouds to part. You are waiting for a surge of energy.
You are waiting to feel like doing the work. Let me tell you the truth. Motivation is a myth. Motivation is a fairy tale told to children to make them think that success is supposed to be fun. Motivation is a biological high, a spike of dopamine that happens maybe 10% of the time. If you only work when you are motivated, you will work 10% of the time, and you will get 10% of the results. The other 90% of the time, you will feel tired. You will feel lazy. You will feel scared. You will feel empty. And this is where the average person quits. They say, I'm just not in the right headspace today. They say, I'll do it when I feel better. You do not have that luxury anymore. You have killed the narrative. You have starved the observer. Now, you must learn to operate without fuel. You must enter robot mode, decoupling action from feeling. Robot mode is the state where your actions are completely disconnected from your emotions. A robot does not ask, do I feel like building this car today? A robot just builds the car. A robot does not need a pep talk. A robot has a command, and it executes the command until the task is complete. You must treat your discipline like a machine. The feeler, that child we talked about in Chapter 1, is screaming in the back seat. He is crying. He is bored. He is terrified. Let him scream. You are driving the car. You have a choice. You can pull the car over and comfort the child, or you can keep your foot on the gas. Do it tired. Do it scared. Do it numb. This is your new operating system. Write it down. Burn it into your subconscious.
When the alarm goes off and your eyes burn, do it tired. When the risk is high and your hands shake, do it scared. When you feel absolutely nothing, no passion, no spark, just a gray void, do it numb. It's not about passion. It's about execution. Passion is a bonus. Execution is a requirement. The amateur waits for the feeling. The professional does the work regardless of the feeling. The great negotiation. The problem is that you are negotiating with yourself. Every time you face a difficult task, your brain opens a negotiation. Maybe we can do this tomorrow. Maybe we should eat first. Maybe we should check email one last time. Your brain is a lawyer arguing for comfort, and it is a very good lawyer. It knows exactly what to say to get you to stop. It knows your weak spots. It knows your insecurities. If you listen to the lawyer for even a minute, you lose. If you engage in the debate, you have already failed. You must stop the negotiation before it begins. You must bypass the mind. The first step, the 10-second rule. How do we do this? We use the 10-second rule. This is a physical override for a psychological problem. The moment you think about the task, the moment you remember you need to work out or write that page or make that call, you have a 10-second window. This window is critical. For the first few seconds, your brain is startled. It hasn't had time to boot up the excuse machine yet. It hasn't had time to send the lawyer into the room. You must move your body within that window. Do not think. Do not plan. Do not check your mood. Move.
If you need to go to the gym, stand up. Put on one shoe. That's it. Just put on the shoe. If you need to write, open the laptop. Put your hands on the keys. Type one word. Once the body is moving, the mind is forced to follow. That's the key. The body leads, the mind follows. Most people try to change their mind to change their actions. They try to psych themselves up. That is backwards. It is slow. It is unreliable. Change your action to change your mind. If you sit on the couch, waiting to feel energetic, you will rot there. If you stand up and start doing jumping jacks, energy appears. You generate the energy. You are the power plant. The momentum trap. You have it backwards. You think emotion first, then motion. The truth is motion first, then emotion. Momentum is the only thing that matters. A train standing still is hard to move. You have to push with everything you have just to get the wheels to turn 1 inch. That is the hardest part. That is the 10-second rule. But once the train is moving, it is unstoppable. It can smash through brick walls. You are waiting to feel good to start working, but you have to start working to feel good. The satisfaction comes after the effort, not before. The pride comes after the rep, not before. Do it tired. Do it scared. Do it numb. Stop treating your feelings like they are the boss. Your feelings are the employees. They work for you. And right now, they are lazy employees. They are showing up late. They are complaining. Do the work anyway. The discipline of the void. There will be days when you feel like a hollow shell. There will be days when you look at your goals and they seem meaningless. We call this the void. The void is the most dangerous place for a man. It is where dreams go to die. It is where you say, "What's the point?" This is the ultimate test of the robot mode.
Can you perform when there is no applause? Can you perform when there is no hope? Can you perform when you are staring into the abyss? Yes, you can. Because you are a machine. A machine does not need hope. A machine needs a task list. You don't need their permission to keep going. You don't need the universe to give you a sign. You are the sign. Look at the successful people you admire. Do you think they are excited every day? Do you think they wake up jumping for joy at 4 a.m.? No. They are tired. They are sore. They are stressed. But they get up. They put their feet on the floor. They engage the gear. They do it tired. Do it scared. Do it numb. The transformation. When you practice this, when you stop negotiating and start executing, something shifts in your soul. You stop fearing your own moods. You used to be afraid of waking up sad because it meant you would have a non-productive day. Now, it doesn't matter. You can be sad and productive. You can be anxious and effective. You can be grieving and relentless. Your emotions become irrelevant to your output. This makes you dangerous. This makes you consistent. And consistency is the killer of mediocrity. Anyone can be great on a good day. Anyone can hustle when they just drank 3 coffees and closed a big deal. Who are you on the bad day? Who are you when you have the flu, your bank account is overdrawn, and it's raining? That is the only version of you that counts. Instruction for tomorrow. Here is your instruction. Tomorrow morning, you will feel resistance. It is guaranteed. The lawyer will be waiting for you. When the resistance hits, do not argue. Do not say, "I'll just do it later." Count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move. Physically jerk your body into action. Throw the covers off. Walk to the shower. Open the book. Do it tired. Do it scared. Do it numb. Do not stop until the mission is complete. But be warned. Even as you become a machine of execution, even as you master the art of moving without motivation, the world will not smooth the path for you. You will move forward, and you will hit a wall. A massive, immovable object will drop directly in front of you. A failure, a rejection, a disaster. The weak man looks at the wall and turns around. The weak man sees the obstacle as the end of the road. You are not going to turn around. You are going to realize that the wall is not a barrier. The wall is a gift. You have learned to move without feeling. Now, you must learn to feed on disaster.
Chapter 7. The obstacle is the fuel. You are going to fail. This is not a prediction, it is a guarantee. You are going to move forward, you are going to take action, and you are going to slam face first into a brick wall. The project will be rejected. The funding will dry up. The injury will happen. The person you trusted will betray you. Most of you have a playbook for this. It is a weak playbook. It involves panic. It involves self-pity. It involves asking, why me? It involves stopping. You see the obstacle as a barrier. You see it as something that blocks your path. You see it as the end of the line. You are wrong. You are looking at the map upside down. The obstacle is not standing in the way. The obstacle is the way. This is the secret of the alchemist. This is the secret of the Stoic emperor, Marcus Aurelius. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." You must stop treating problems like they are intruders. Problems are raw materials. Think of a fire. A blazing fire does not care what you throw into it. You can throw in a log of oak. You can throw in a broken chair. You can throw in a pile of trash. The fire does not discriminate. It consumes everything. It turns everything into heat. It turns everything into light. The more you throw at it, the brighter it burns. You must become the fire. When the world throws a problem at you, you do not dodge it. You consume it. You use it to burn brighter. The block is the path. The problem is the solution. Write that down. Tattoo it on your mind. The alchemy of the pivot. Let's talk about how this works in the real world. This is not magic, this is mechanics. You want to start a business. You launch a product. It fails. No one buys it. The weak man says, "I failed. I am not a businessman." He quits. The obstacle stopped him. The Stoic man looks at the failure. He analyzes the data. He realizes why no one bought it. Maybe the price was too high. Maybe the marketing was wrong. He uses that failure to pivot. He changes the offer. He tries again.
The failure was not a stop sign. The failure was a lesson. The failure was the tuition he had to pay to learn the market. Without the failure, he would never have found the winning product. The block is the path. The problem is the solution. If the door is locked, you do not sit down and cry. You do not wait for someone to open it. You learn to pick locks. And if you can't pick the lock, you learn to kick the door down. And if the door is reinforced steel, you find a window. And if there is no window, you dig a tunnel. Do you see what is happening? The locked door is forcing you to learn new skills. It is forcing you to become a locksmith, a fighter, a climber, an engineer. If the door had been open, you would have walked through as a weak, unskilled amateur. Because the door was locked, you walked through as a master. The obstacle made you better. The obstacle forced the growth. It's not about ease, it's about evolution. You pray for an easy life. Stop it. An easy life produces a soft human. You should pray for a difficult life and the strength to endure it.
The pivot. You must master the pivot. When you hit a wall, you do not stop. You bounce. You redirect the energy. Scenario. You get fired from your job. The victim. This is a disaster. How will I pay my bills? They wronged me. The alchemist. Good. I was stagnant in that job anyway. I was too comfortable. Now I am forced to find something better. Now I am forced to upgrade my skills. This fire is exactly what I needed to burn away the dead wood. You take the energy of the crisis and you channel it into the reconstruction. The block is the path. The problem is the solution. Amor fati. Love the fate. Now we go deeper. It is one thing to accept the obstacle. It is another thing to use the obstacle. But there is a level beyond that.
The highest level is to love the obstacle. The Stoics called this amor fati, love of fate. This is aggressive. This is radical. It means that when the disaster strikes, you don't just tolerate it. You don't just say, well, I guess I have to deal with this. You say, thank you. You say, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I needed. You break your leg? Good. Now you can focus on reading, writing, and training your upper body. You can cultivate patience. You accept it fully. You lose your money? Good. Now you know who your real friends are. Now you have the freedom of having nothing to lose. You embrace the 0 point. That's the key. You cannot be defeated if you love the defeat. Imagine fighting an opponent who smiles every time you punch him. Imagine hitting him as hard as you can, and he laughs and says, harder, I need to toughen my jaw. You cannot beat that man. He is using your attacks to make himself stronger. You must be that man. You must be that woman. You have a choice. You can resent your life. You can wish things were different. You can spend your energy arguing with reality. It shouldn't be this way. But it is this way. Arguing with reality is a fight you will lose 100% of the time. Or you can embrace reality. You can hug the cactus. You can say, this pain is mine. This struggle is mine. I will own it. I will use it. I will love it. The block is the path. The problem is the solution. The behavioral instruction. Here is what you must do. The next time something goes wrong, whether it is a small annoyance like a traffic jam or a major crisis like a breakup, you are going to trigger a specific verbal response. You are going to say one word. Good.
The car won't start? Good. I could walk and get some exercise. The deal fell through? Good. It wasn't the right deal. It's raining? Good. The planets need water, and I can focus indoors. This technique was popularized by Jocko Willink, and it is pure Stoicism. It creates a gap. It forces your brain to look for the silver lining. It forces you to find the fuel. When you say good, you stop the victim narrative instantly. You shift from why me to what now. You turn the obstacle into a stepping stone. You don't need their permission to rewrite the story. You are the author. If you write a story where the hero has no problems, it is a boring story. It is a weak story. The hero needs the dragon. The hero needs the storm. Without the dragon, the hero is just a guy in a suit of armor standing in a field. The dragon gives you purpose. The dragon makes you a legend. Stop running from the dragons. Hunt them. The block is the path. The problem is the solution. The fortress of adaptability. When you live this way, you become anti-fragile. Fragile things break when you hit them.
Resilient things withstand the hit. Anti-fragile things get stronger when you hit them. Be anti-fragile. Let the world throw its chaos at you. Let the economy crash. Let the critics scream. Let the plans fail. You will stand there, unshakable, throwing every piece of bad news into your internal fire, watching the flames rise higher and higher. You will use the wreckage of your old life to build the foundation of your new one. You have mastered your emotions. You have mastered your actions. You have learned to turn obstacles into fuel. You are becoming a force of nature. But there is one enemy you cannot alchemize. There is one obstacle you cannot overcome. There is one resource that once burnt can never be recovered. You can get more money, you can get more health, you can get more friends, but you cannot get more time. And right now, while you are listening to this, your life is bleeding out. The clock is not just ticking, it is counting down. You need to understand the true cost of your distraction.
Chapter 8. The Silent Cost of Time. Listen to the silence. If you listen closely enough, you can hear a sound that should terrify you. It is the sound of your life draining away. It is the sound of a heartbeat. It is the sound of a clock. Tick, tick, tick. Every single tick is a second you will never get back. It is gone. It has vanished into the void. You are poorer now than you were when this chapter started. You have less life left. You act as if you are immortal. You act as if you have an infinite supply of tomorrows. You procrastinate. You hesitate. You waste hours on things that do not matter, with people who do not matter. You are being hunted. There is a predator stalking you. It is relentless. It never sleeps. It never stops. That predator is time, and it is going to catch you. The only question is, what will you have built before it does? The Stoics had a practice called memento mori, remember death. This was not meant to be morbid. It was not meant to make you sad. It was meant to make you urgent. It was meant to snap you out of your trance. Most of you are sleepwalking toward the grave. You are letting days bleed into weeks, and weeks bleed into years, without any intent. You are letting the predator eat your life while you stare at a screen. The clock is ticking. You are dying right now. We usually think of dying as an event that happens at the end of life. That is wrong. You are dying every day. The time you spent yesterday is dead. The time you spent this morning is dead. You are currently in the process of dying. If you understood this, if you truly felt the weight of this truth, you would never waste another second. The time vampires. Let's look at your day. Let's look at where the treasure is going. You say you don't have time to work out. You say you don't have time to build your business. You say you don't have time to read. You are a liar.
You have the time. You are just giving it away to thieves. We call these time vampires. They are stealing your limited life, and you are letting them do it. You are leaving the vault door open. 1. The screen. Look at your screen time report. 3 hours? 4 hours? 6 hours? That is not relaxing. That is suicide by distraction. You are watching other people live their lives while yours rots away.
Every minute you spend scrolling is a minute you stole from your potential. 2. The gossip. How much time do you spend talking about other people, complaining about your boss, discussing the news? This is low-status behavior. It achieves nothing. It builds nothing. It is a black hole for your energy. 3. The worry. We talked about the narrative. Worry is the narrative stealing your time. You sit there, paralyzed, imagining bad outcomes that haven't happened yet. You are paying interest on a debt you don't even owe. The clock is ticking. You are dying right now. You need to perform the trim. You must look at your life with a knife in your hand. You must cut out everything that is not essential. If it does not make you money, make you stronger, or make you wiser, it is a target. If it involves people who do not respect you or inspire you, it is a target. If it is mindless consumption of garbage content, it is a target. You have a choice. You can continue to feed the vampires. You can continue to let them suck the life out of you until you are an empty husk filled with regret. Or you can shut the door. It's not about being busy. It's about being lethal. Being busy is a trap. You can be busy checking email for 8 hours and accomplish nothing. Being lethal means you identify the one thing that moves the needle, and you attack it with everything you have, and you do not stop until it is dead.
The lie of later. The greatest trick the predator plays on you is the illusion of later. I'll do it later. I'll start on Monday. I'll apologize when things calm down. There is no later. Later is a fantasy land where you are perfect, disciplined, and successful. But you don't live in later. You live in now. If you don't do it now, you won't do it later. Seneca said, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." Immediate execution. This brings us to the principle of immediate execution. If something matters, the only time to engage is immediately. If you have an idea, write it down now. If you need to send a message, send it now. If you need to do a rep, do it now. When you delay, you create a gap. And in that gap, the resistance grows. In that gap, the fear grows. In that gap, the vampires come back. Close the gap. The clock is ticking. You are dying right now. Imagine you have a bank account. Every morning, you are given $86,400. But at the end of the day, whatever you haven't spent disappears. You cannot save it. You cannot carry it over. It is gone forever. What would you do? You would spend every single cent. You would make sure you got value for every penny. You have 86,400 seconds in a day, and most of you are burning them in a dumpster fire of procrastination. The memento mori visualization. Here is what you must do. This is a practical exercise, and it is painful. I want you to calculate how much time you actually have left. Take your statistical life expectancy, let's say 80 years, subtract your current age. Now take that number and multiply it by 52.
That is how many weekends you have left. That is how many Saturdays you have left to spend with your family. That is how many Mondays you have left to do your work. If you are 30, you have roughly 2,600 weekends left. If you are 40, you have roughly 2,000. If you are 50, you have roughly 1,500. Put a jar of marbles on your desk. Put exactly that number of marbles in the jar. Every Sunday night, take one marble out
and throw it in the trash. Watch the jar get empty. Does that scare you? Good. It should. That's the key. Use the fear. Let the terror of the empty jar drive you. Let it make you aggressive. Let it make you impatient. You don't need their permission to be in a hurry. You don't need their permission to say no. When someone asks for your time, they are asking for a piece of your life. If you say yes to a boring meeting, you are saying yes to death. You are trading a piece of your limited existence for something you hate. Stop being so polite. Stop being so available. The clock is ticking. You are dying right now. The final standard. You must start treating your time with the same ferocity that a miser treats his gold. You guard your wallet, you guard your house, but you leave your time unguarded, open for anyone to steal. No more. From this moment on, you are ruthless. If a video doesn't teach you, turn it off. If a conversation doesn't serve you, walk away. If a task doesn't move you forward, delete it. You are running a race against a predator that is faster than you. You cannot afford to carry extra weight. You cannot afford to stop and look at the scenery. You must run. You must understand that urgency is the only cure for mediocrity. Urgency clears the fog. When you know the deadline is real, you stop analyzing and you start acting. But urgency alone is not enough. You can be urgent for a day and then burn out. You can be urgent for a week and then crash. To beat the predator over the long haul, you cannot rely on bursts of speed. You need a structure that moves you forward automatically every single day, regardless of how you feel. You need to stop relying on willpower and start relying on a machine. You need to replace your motivation with something unbreakable.
Chapter 9. Ritual over motivation. You are banking on a resource that does not exist. You wake up every day hoping that you will have the willpower to do the hard things. You hope that you will have the strength to resist the junk food. You hope that you will have the drive to make the sales calls. You hope that you will have the energy to go to the gym after work. You are gambling with your life. Willpower is a battery. It drains. Every decision you make during the day drains the battery. Every email you answer, every traffic jam you sit in, every small annoyance eats away at your willpower. By 6 p.m., the battery is dead. And when the battery is dead, you revert to your lowest level of training. You revert to comfort. You revert to weakness. If you rely on willpower, you will fail. It is a mathematical certainty. The amateur relies on willpower. The amateur relies on feeling like it. The master relies on one thing: the system. The master builds a structure so strong that he does not need willpower. He does not need to make choices. He simply steps into the machine, and the machine moves him forward. This is the power of ritual. Feelings are variable. Rituals are permanent. Your feelings are like the stock market. They go up, they go down. They crash, they rally. If you build your life on the foundation of your feelings, your life will be chaotic. You will be consistent only in your inconsistency. But a ritual is concrete. A ritual is a fortress. A ritual happens whether you are happy, sad, sick, or tired. The unbreakable morning. It starts the moment you open your eyes. Most of you lose the day in the first 10 minutes. You wake up, and the first thing you do is reach for your phone. You check social media. You check the news. You check email.
You have just let the world into your bedroom. You have let the chaos in. You have started your day in a reactive state. You are already behind. You must reclaim the morning. The morning is the only time of day that you fully own. The boss isn't calling yet. The kids aren't awake yet. The emails haven't started. You need an unbreakable morning ritual. This is not some manifestation nonsense. This is a sequence of biological triggers designed to prime your body for war. Here's the blueprint. You can adapt it, but you cannot delete it. Hydrate. Your brain is dehydrated. Drink water immediately. Fix the hardware. Move. Do not sit down. Do not look at a screen. Move your body. Push-ups, stretching, a walk. Anything to tell your nervous system that we are hunting, not sleeping. Silence. 5 minutes of the breath anchor from Chapter 3. Center the mind before the noise begins. You do this every single day. Feelings are variable. Rituals are permanent. You don't ask yourself, do I want to do my push-ups today? That is a question for the amateur. You just do them. It is automatic. It is programmed. When you win the first hour of the day, you create a psychological victory. You have kept a promise to yourself. You have established dominance over the voice in your head that wants to stay in bed. The non-negotiables. Beyond the morning, you must establish your non-negotiables. These are the pillars of your self-respect. These are the things that happen no matter what. You need to identify 3 tasks, only 3. If you have 10 priorities, you have 0 priorities. 3 tasks that move the needle.
Maybe it is 1 hour of deep work on your business, 45 minutes of physical training, reading 10 pages of a book. These are your non-negotiables. That's the key. They are not negotiable. If you are sick, you do a lighter version, but you do it. If you are traveling, you do it in the hotel room. If you are tired, you do it tired. You have a choice. You can have excuses, or you can have results. You cannot have both. When you execute your non-negotiables every day for a month, something shifts. You stop trusting your feelings and you start trusting your track record. You look at yourself in the mirror and you see a person who follows through. Self-esteem is not given, it is earned. You earn it by stacking evidence that you are who you say you are. Feelings are variable. Rituals are permanent. Automating success. The goal is to remove choice from the equation. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every day. Why? Was he lazy? No, he was eliminating decision fatigue. He didn't want to waste a single unit of brain power on choosing clothes. He saved that power for building an empire. You must do the same. Stop deciding when you will go to the gym. Decide it once and never decide it again. I go at 6 a.m. End of discussion. Stop deciding what you will eat for lunch. Meal prep. Decide once. Eat the same thing. Stop deciding if you will work. Set the block. It's not about variety. It's about automation. You want your life to run on autopilot. Not the autopilot of distraction, but the autopilot of excellence. When the behavior becomes automatic, it bypasses the feeler. The feeler doesn't get a vote. The feeler doesn't even know it's happening until it's already done. You are hacking your own psychology. You are building a railroad track. Once the train is on the track, it goes to the destination. It doesn't wander off into the woods because it feels like exploring. It stays on the rail. Build the rail. You don't need their permission to be boring. People will say, "You're so rigid, you're so robotic, you need to live a little." Let them talk. Look at their lives. Are they happy? Are they free? Or are they slaves to their impulses, drowning in debt, out of shape, and anxious? Discipline is freedom. Structure is freedom. When you have a ritual, you don't have to worry. You know the work will get done. You know the health will be maintained. You know the money will come. The anxiety disappears because the system handles the load. The bedrock of identity. Ultimately, this is about changing who you are. If you have to try to go to the gym, you are not an athlete. An athlete just goes. It is what they do. If you have to force yourself to write, you are not a writer. A writer writes. It is what they do. Rituals bridge the gap between trying and being. Feelings are variable. Rituals are permanent. When you repeat a ritual for 100 days, it stops being a task. It becomes a trait. It becomes part of your DNA. You stop saying, "I have to work out." You start saying, "I am the type of person who works out." That shift is everything. Once the identity changes, the war is won. You no longer have to fight yourself. You are simply acting in accordance with your nature. Implementation. Here is your instruction. Tonight, before you go to sleep, you will write down your ritual. You will define exactly what happens in the first 60 minutes of tomorrow. You will define your 3 non-negotiables. And tomorrow, you will execute them. If you miss one, you do not quit. You do not spiral into shame. You get back on the rail immediately. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. A missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is a new habit. Never miss twice. Stop waiting for the lightning bolt of inspiration. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time is 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The inspiration is the sweat on your forehead. Build the machine. Trust the machine. Be the machine. Feelings are variable. Rituals are permanent. You have dismantled the lies of your feelings. You have silenced the need for validation. You have learned to pause, to endure pain, to ignore the narrative, and to act without motivation. You have turned obstacles into fuel, trimmed the fat from your time, and built a system of unbreakable rituals. You have all the pieces. Now we must put them together. We must take these separate disciplines and fuse them into a single, impenetrable state of being. You are no longer building the wall. The wall is finished. Now you must live inside it.
Chapter 10. Become the Fortress. We have arrived at the summit. You have walked the path. You have dismantled the lies of your emotions. You have learned to pause before you react. You have calloused your mind against pain. You have killed the victim narrative.
You have automated your actions and purged the time vampires from your life. You have the tools. But tools are useless without a container. Tools scattered on the ground rust. They get lost. They are forgotten. You need a structure to hold them. You need an identity that binds everything together. You must stop thinking of these chapters as separate techniques. They are not separate. They are the bricks of a single, impenetrable structure. You are no longer a person trying to be disciplined. You are the discipline itself. You are no longer a person trying to survive the chaos. You are the order that consumes the chaos. You must become the fortress. The integration. The fortress is not a place you go, it is a state of mind you inhabit. It is the state where the external world can no longer touch your internal peace. It is the state where you are sovereign. Think about what a fortress is. It is thick walls. It is a high vantage point. It is a gate that only opens when the commander decides. Most of you have lived your lives as an open field. Anyone could walk in. Anyone could trample your grass. Anyone could start a fire. A rude comment from a stranger could ruin your day because you had no walls. A failure could destroy your confidence because you had no foundation. That ends today. You are building the walls. The pause we learned in Chapter 3, that is the drawbridge. You decide what comes in. The action we learned in Chapter 6, that is the engine room. It runs regardless of the weather outside. The narrative control from Chapter 5, that is the watchtower. You see the threats coming, but you do not panic. You have a choice. You can remain an open field trampled by the world, or you can stack the stones. The visualization. The unshakable rock. To understand this state, you must visualize it. You must see it clearly in your mind's eye. Imagine a violent ocean. The sky is black. The wind is screaming. The waves are 50 feet high, crashing down with enough force to crush steel. In the middle of that ocean, there is a jagged, black rock. The waves hit the rock. They smash into it. The water foams and sprays. The noise is deafening. But look closely at the rock. Does the rock move? No. Does the rock complain that the ocean is being wet? No. Does the rock try to negotiate with the wind? No. The rock just sits there. It has been there for 1,000 years, and it will be there for 1,000 more. The waves are furious, but the rock is indifferent. You are the rock. The world is the waves. The waves are your problems. The waves are the market crashing. The waves are your partner leaving. The waves are your health failing. The waves are the opinions of people who do not matter. Let them crash. Let them scream. I am the center. I am the void. I am the fortress. Say it. Feel the weight of it. When the chaos starts, when the noise gets loud, you do not fight the waves. You cannot stop the ocean. You can only be the rock. The weak man fights the ocean. He tries to control things he cannot control. He gets exhausted. He drowns. The Stoic man accepts the ocean. He knows it is wet. He knows it is loud. He lets it wash over him, and he remains standing. That's the key. You do not need the water to be calm for you to be strong. You are strong because the water is rough. I am the center. I am the void. I am the fortress. The void. Why do I say I am the void? Because a fortress is not just walls. A fortress is also the empty space inside where the ruler sits. You must cultivate a space inside you that is untouchable,
a place of absolute silence. When someone insults you, the insult hits the wall, it does not reach the void. When you lose money, the loss hits the wall, it does not reach the void. In that center, in that void, you are calm. You are rational. You are planning the next move. You don't need their permission to be detached. They will call you cold. They will call you distant. Let them. They are addicted to the drama. They want you to drown in the waves with them. They want you to panic so they feel better about their own panic. Do not give them the satisfaction. Stay in the void. The final standard. Now we come to the hardest part, the price of the fortress. When you become the fortress, you accept a burden. You accept the final standard. This is a standard of behavior that you hold yourself to even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. You are no longer doing this for the applause. You are no longer doing this for the results. You are doing this because it is the code. If you cheat on your diet, no one will know. But you will know, and the fortress will develop a crack. If you skip the workout, no one will fire you. But you will know, and the fortress will weaken. It's not about perfection. It's about integrity. Integrity means whole. It means unbroken. When you say you will do something and then you don't do it, you fracture your own structure. You break the wall. From this day forward, your word is law. Not to others, to yourself. If you say, I'm going to read, you read. If you say, I am going to focus, you focus. You must hold yourself to a standard that no one else understands. Your friends will say, take a day off, it's not a big deal. Your family will say, relax, you've done enough. They are speaking from the open field. They do not understand the fortress.
You don't need their permission to be excellent. You don't need their permission to be obsessed. I am the center. I am the void. I am the fortress. The solitude of strength. You must accept that this path is lonely. The higher you build the walls, the fewer people can climb them. That is the trade. You trade the cheap comfort of the crowd for the deep power of self-mastery. You trade the fun of the distraction for the glory of the achievement. Is it worth it? Look at the people in the crowd. Look at their eyes. They are terrified. They are drifting. They are slaves to every headline and every impulse. Now look at the fortress. It is solitary, but it is safe. It is powerful. It is enduring. You have a choice. You can go back to being a leaf in the wind. It is easy. You just let go. You just stop trying. The current will take you down immediately. Or you can drive the stake into the ground. You can lay the first stone. You can decide right now that you are done being a victim of your own biology. The integration. Take everything you have learned in the last hour. The 24-hour rule, the empty theater, the breath anchor, the callus, the police report, robot mode, the pivot, memento mori, the morning ritual. These are your weapons. These are your bricks. Do not just know them, be them. When you walk out of your door tomorrow, you are not walking out as a civilian. You are walking out as a commander. The world will try to break you. It will throw traffic and incompetence and tragedy at you. And you will smile. You will look at the chaos, and you will say, I was expecting you. I am ready for you. You cannot hurt me. I am the center.
I am the void. I am the fortress. You are the unshakable rock. The storm is just noise. The lecture is almost over. The theory is finished. The blueprint is in your hands. But a blueprint is just a piece of paper until you pick up a hammer. You have heard the truth. Now you must face the final challenge. The challenge is not in the words I have spoken. The challenge is in the silence that comes next.
You have heard the truth, but hearing is passive. Hearing is weak. The only thing that matters now is what you do when the silence returns. Do not tell anyone you listened to this. Do not post about it. Do not talk about your new discipline. Show them. Let your actions be the only evidence that you have changed. When the pain comes, you will welcome it. When the chaos starts, you will remain still. When your mind begs for comfort, you will stay in the fire. You are no longer a slave to your impulses. You are the master of your machine. The lecture is over. The work begins. Get up, get moving, now.